Hello, this is Nathan, better known as CrazyhermitDM, and this is my podcast, The Hermit's Homebrew. Joining me today is Brent from Langeministudio, and Chase, who is better known as Kilk. We were talking about before we started recording and I think she was going to join us tonight, but real life things have happened and all that, with storms and houses.
Mention of that at the end of the episode.
Yeah, you guys pissed off Thor and crashed a tree into your guys' house, unfortunately.
The Fey Enchantress has had her say on what our house looks like right now.
The Sealy court has struck a blow.
I'd say unsealy, but
unsealy. Okay, it's got Vickie thinking. It's got her considering options, which she hasn't thought of before. And we've talked a couple of times on the podcast. Over the last 2 years, we've watched her grow as a player, and not many. I'm sure plenty of people have, but as for me as a DM, I've never gotten to. I guess I've seen it once with the Amelia player.
Oh yeah, okay.
But she knew fantasy. She knew everything I was talking about lore-wise.
True.
Vickie came in here not knowing any lore. She don't know a lot about mythology or folklore, especially Norse, or anything about D&D.
Right. She's not a gamer. She's not a fantasy player. She doesn't play RPGs. Like, this is her first experience in something like this.
It was very blank slate start menu, preset character, and now make it look like how you want.
Yeah.
And then over the last 2 years, it's grown. And to see her now, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and I found this, and it's like...
She's been running so many cool ideas by me.
And she's holding ideas back from you now.
Yeah, and she's intentionally not telling you the idea.
She told me, because I asked her, I was like, if you have any really cool ideas, it's always good to talk to Nathan, because it's his thing. He might be able to give you things. She's like, well, I don't want to tell him. And she's like, I don't even really want to tell you. And she's like, because I want it to be a surprise. Like, I want the table... to be excited or be like, oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, and I'm down. That's awesome.
And I was thinking about it. I'm like, this is also a perfect spot for your character to have
insert
a moment.
Authority.
Yeah, because now Valkyrie is standing in front of you. Wrathgriff is above us. You personally have just sealed away Xingshi. You have the Xingshi in a box. Like,
you have a prisoner of war.
Yeah, we've got a POW, and Merrick wants that eye.
Right, yeah. And,
you can have the hand. I want the eye.
Yeah, I want the eye. So, I love the idea that she's now thinking, hey, I did this, and it's a moment, I believe, as a player that you can never replicate. And it's that eureka moment of, I know how to play this game now.
Yeah.
I'm going to make something cool happen. Mm-hmm. And that feeling, and I guess I can hearken this back to, because right now Elden Ring is very big.
The new DLC came out.
DLC came out, and one of the coolest things that I've ever heard from like Elden Ring players is, do not watch any videos on how to beat it.
No,
do not do anything. Go through the game, play it yourself. That experience that you have when you finally defeat this game, playing it. By any Souls game. It doesn't have to be Elden Ring, it could be, Souls,
Yeah, you drop the controller and you jump up and you go,
won,
yeah,
and you're
suck
like,
it!
I did it. You will never experience that feeling
that
again.
high. Yeah.
And I feel like she's getting that moment as a player.
That's awesome.
I know what I'm doing.
Awesome.
And I want to have a moment where she always sees Toy Bar, she sees Merrick. Like, we kind of lead the story as players.
Yeah.
There's that last season of The Office with Andy Bernard, and he's trying to like get his comeuppance at the very end. He goes, I just want that one delicious moment.
Yeah. So she sees us as Merrick and Kilk, just kind of leading the story, and now she's finally feeling comfortable enough to be like, this is my moment to lead the story.
Cool. Do it.
And
I will support her.
When
all
her
the
and I
way.
was talking about it, I was like, absolutely. Like, I want you to do this.
Yes.
And that was, she couldn't be here tonight. I really wanted her to be here tonight, but
like you said, real life stuff. Yeah.
Because this is
You're
This
currently
would've-
displaced, and that's
Yeah.
understandable.
So
Yeah.
I guess real quick for those of you who don't know, a tree fell through our house, so we're kind of displaced for the next 6 to 8 months.
Vickie did post a couple of videos about it. Go check her out on YouTube.
Yeah.
Garden Evolution, two separate words. Garden Evolution. As of filming, it's her most recent videos. It's when I first heard, I was laying in bed, and my phone started blowing up, and I was like, "What? Huh? And so I grabbed my phone. I look at it and I see that it's just Discord. I'm like, okay, it's just Discord. I don't
Yeah.
care. So I put my phone down and I went to go back to sleep because I had to be up at 4:30 in the morning to go to
Right,
work.
of course.
Well, it kept going off. And I went, okay, what's going on? I sat up, I grabbed my phone and I unlock it and I look at my notifications. And the one that I went, okay, I have to figure this out is nobody was hurt. Everyone's fine.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I have to know what's going on. So I go into Discord, and the first thing I see is a video in the middle of a thunderstorm of a tree where our gaming table used to be.
Where we played
Where, like, we
God,
literally sat
40 sessions.
40 sessions.
40
yeah.
sessions of this campaign. Where that table is, there is now a, 60-foot tree?
Oh, I mean, this thing was probably 8 feet around.
Yeah.
It was probably a 150-year-old silver maple.
Yeah.
Well, anyone that follows this podcast, follows my social medias, they've seen the GoFundMe that I
Yeah.
posted.
We did have a GoFundMe, guys, so I'm not one of those people that likes to ask anybody for money, so I always tell people it's optional, but if you're
Ladies
looking
and
to
gen-
help, this is the easiest way to do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Nate and I have come together, and if you submit proof to Nate or myself of a $50 donation towards the GoFundMe, you will get a free Hermit's Homebrew Podcast t-shirt.
And I didn't, and to be honest, these guys told me this today when I walked in that they were doing this, so I didn't know anything about it. But it's interesting you talk
I
about.
think Vickie knew because she commented on
Oh,
my
did she?
TikTok. And she's
Oh,
like,
did she?
"Thanks,
Said anything
Nathan."
to
Did
me
you?
about it.
Oh, okay.
But it's funny that you say that because I think the next day you and I were talking and I was like, hey, this and that. And you were like, oh, I thought that was a joke.
Oh.
When I posted it in the
Oh,
thing.
because
Oh.
what? So that night, because I'm recovering. My herniated disc is recovered, but I still have the nerve pain because I have the inflamed disc. I'd worked 12 hours that day. It was so painful when I got home.
That he just
I
went
fell
to
asleep.
bed.
I came home, slept for an hour, had dinner, and about 8 o'clock just passed right out.
Yeah. And this
And
happened at
then-
like 9:45 our time.
Yeah.
Here in
And
Yeah,
then-
we had just a
so-
nasty storm come through.
And especially with storms, those knocked me out even more. It was a bad storm. I could hear the hail, but I'm like,
Yeah.
If for me, if there is rain and thunder in the distance,
You just knocked out.
I am gone.
Nice.
It is
but yeah,
so
I
nice
just
to
slept
sleep.
harder. And then I woke up the next morning, and none of those Discord messages had popped up. And
Probably
then I
looked at
get a
your
message.
phone. You know,
from-
sometimes on your phone it takes a few seconds for
Yeah.
Discord to like. Sometimes it takes like 5 minutes.
All
for
of a
it to
sudden,
catch up.
Boom, you get that one little notification like,
But
oh, something happened.
I got a message from you. It's like, hey, your tank's all okay and all that sort of stuff. Despite everything
I
that
sent
happened,
A photo of the tank. That's
Yeah.
right.
and because I have a lion's mane mushroom growing kit from the farmer's market, and I said, hey, can I borrow your cracked terrarium? I'll just kind of crack it open that and
Yeah.
get a real big bloom going.
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go.
And then I'm like,
This is how The Last of Us starts.
what the hell are you talking about with your tank? And I opened it, and there's a tree over it. I'm like, when did a tree fall on your
Yeah.
house?
like, what the?
And I was
when
like,
did that
I
happen?
was like, did you not
Did
see
you
the
not
Discord
see the-
messages?
yeah.
No,
And then I
but
looked
it
at
was-
this
It
Discord, I'm
happened
just
last
like,
night.
I've been passed out from pain from muscle
Yeah.
relaxers and all that.
What the hell?
So yeah, so we're getting everything taken care of, guys.
Yeah.
The house is probably gonna, at least half it's gonna be demoed and have to be rebuilt. So it's gonna be about 6 to 8 months. But you know, it's awesome that she is taking these moments.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah,
to,
and
like, pivot back.
Yeah, exactly, and it's good. And it's good to see.
I'm
that.
excited.
Yeah.
I wanted her to be here. So, the reason she couldn't be here is because we also have a Chihuahua, and we actually have an item in the game, and it's an idol, the idol of secret.
The idol
And
of
it
secret.
alerts us. It's an alert, so you can't be surprised that you put it out, and it makes a little secret.
It makes a little. Their Chihuahua is named Secret.
Yeah.
So it's this little idol that when you activate it, it's this little.
It's a wondrous.
It's
Yeah,
a wondrous
wondrous
figurine.
Before Vickie and I got together, she had Secret, but they got her from the Humane Society, and she
Aw.
has separation anxiety. So
Aw.
nobody but her is in a space. She starts getting really panicky,
Mm-hmm.
and that's fine at the house.
Because she can
She's
go
at the
somewhere
house.
and then she
Yeah.
can find you. Yeah.
But in a hotel room, we can't have a chihuahua howling for hours on end. So
No.
I thought, and I even asked her, you know, is this going to be your time on the podcast?
Yeah.
Like the first time you get on the podcast?
Yeah.
And she's like, I think that would be really cool.
Yeah.
But
And
I'm
I-
not really feeling it right now. And I was like, that's fine.
That's
I'll
cool.
take
Yeah.
it.
If it,
I almost wouldn't.
So don't be surprised if she crashes a podcast one of these.
More than welcome.
More than welcome. Just like Toe's more than welcome to come, but I don't think she wants to be put in front of a microphone.
Right. That was her thing. She's like, I don't know. Like she's getting her feet.
Yeah.
Because I told her, I was like, this is a perfect spot. Like you have an idea for the story
Mm-hmm.
that your character is going to guide this part of the story. This would be a perfect time to come and sit on the podcast and be like, you know, this is where I was feeling it. And she's like, I don't know if I'm at that point yet.
Okay.
She's like, but I do want to come and crash the podcast at some point.
Yes.
And I'm like, absolutely.
I will
That'd be
say,
amazing,
not
yeah.
just with our game, but from a maybe an advice point of view to a listener. Like if you have like that particular moment set up in your mind, and you have a cool DM, or at least an experienced DM, talk to that DM if you think it needs a little like ensuring of it needs set up.
Yeah, for sure.
I want to accomplish this. I think it would be real good. And if it's going along with the DM's plans anyways, and they're not a total douche, they're going to go along with it. Of like, well, my story went this way. Well, I'm more like, that's cool. Let's go that way.
Yeah, because you guys are supposed to be making a story together.
Yeah.
And
It should never be you versus the DM or the DM
Never.
versus you. It should be
No,
you guys
it's-
together making a fun.
yeah, exactly. And that's what's supposed to be. So yeah, and I'll say the same thing. If you guys have a cool idea when I'm running a game, please, by all means, tell me.
Yeah, and also talk to your fellow.
Yeah, talk to your fellow players.
Your fellow players, right? Because if she has this idea, and let's say, you know, Tove has this idea that this could be her moment to guide the things. Like it's good to have both of them talk because it could be a combination of, oh, you want to do this and I want to do this. How do we adjust this so we can both?
Yeah, how
pull
can we?
this off,
Yeah,
and then even
That's-
something cooler could happen.
And that's
Yeah,
one of the things I
absolutely.
want to do in Brent's campaign is when I'm the character, because I don't get to be a player, is
Mhm.
I want to figure out how to set up one-on-one moments with each character across the table.
Right.
Or,
Mm-hmm.
like you came to me and it's like, I'm not quite sure how to start this Svartheim campaign. I handed you the Out of the Abyss book. I'm like,
Oh yeah,
this-
and it's been
the-
so useful. Yeah.
The start of this book I used for the last campaign when Kilk was. Unfortunately, you weren't there yet, but
Right.
I go, they were all in Svartheim. They all got thrown in prison. They had to escape the prison camp.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's how it started. I'm like, that is one of the funnest starts I've ever done as a DM.
And then
Yeah.
also, it's a really interesting way of starting your characters out literally naked. They
Um,
have rags on their back. Go.
And with that particular campaign, they had given me their backstories because I handed them like those 10 questions of all that. And I'm like, ooh, okay. How did they get here?
Yeah.
Flint got there because he crossed the wrong person. It was a gambling
Of
thing.
course he did.
Yep. Yep.
What a guy.
Gek,
What a
this
guy.
Kobold assassin, she tried to basically outdo a mark against another assassin, and he got sold to slavers. This assassin sold him up the river to slavers.
Nice.
And dragged
Kind
him.
of like what Gilvickle did to Nick's first character. Sold him to the.
Oh, the spider gunslinger.
Then
Nick
Lether
always comes up
Skaldana,
with it.
she was initially a cleric of Loki. There's like two factions with Loki's faith in our setting, and one is the kind of more jovial tricksters and all that. The other ones are kind of a murder cult.
Yeah.
She
He
crossed
started Ragnarok.
She
We're here to
crossed.
Well,
finish it.
he killed Baldur. Yeah,
She
or not
crossed
Baldur,
a
but
high priestess of the
Like, yeah.
murderous cult side, and then
Okay.
she got thrown into with these slavers.
Nice. Yeah, no, I'm just glad that she's coming into her own.
Yeah,
Honestly.
and-
it's
and-
been a struggle for her for a little while.
Mhm.
She's always kind of felt a little lost.
which I understand.
And I'm glad that she's taking more agency and saying,
Yeah.
I want to do this. This is my moment. And I told her, I was like, I'm gonna be honest with you, Toy Bar has no skin in this game. As the player who runs Toy Bar, he's just gonna be like, oh look, another
Merrick.
crazy mystical
Yeah.
person just showed up, and they used a cool magic beam.
Yeah, and the only skin that Merrick has in this game, or in this particular instance, is that Surtur commanded him to take control of the spark in the volcano, and Merrick was able to convince him, very Vader Emperor with Luke, but if he could be turned, he could be a powerful ally. And I was like, okay,
Yeah.
but hear me out. If she gets it, now we have an ally that owes us something.
She's
And
also
she gets-
very
And he
concerned
actually
about your
went-
character.
And Surtur
Because-
actually listen.
Yeah, and Surtur was like, That's a good idea.
Yeah.
So Merrick now has a vested interest in her getting this spark.
Yeah, she also is very concerned as a player right now.
Okay.
Because she has the Xingshi in a box bargaining tool. But if Xingshi appears back out of the box, Surtur knows, right? Because he knew.
Yeah, Surtur knew somehow that we took
that he didn't feel
off.
his presence in the plane.
Yeah, we took Xingshi off the board. Yeah.
But she's concerned that if Xingshi comes out, that Surtur will be mad at you. He commanded that you basically kill him.
I would say yes and no. We need to depower him. That's why I'm like, get rid of the hand, get rid of the eye. We've taken his Vorpal sword.
She's concerned that the command was to kill him, and that he's given you a boon now of, hey, you did good job, and you didn't tell him that he wasn't dead.
A lie by
He didn't ask. He didn't. He's like, oh, hey, good job. Here's a boon. I'm like, oh. Cool, thanks.
And because she asked me a little bit about that, and I was like, well, and I used the Baldur's Gate 3 reference of if you kill Karlach versus if you don't, what happens to the warlock in your party? And because if you kill
Karlach, the golden retriever tiefling girl?
Yeah.
My tiefling girlfriend?
Yeah.
Tiefling wife?
If you kill her off the rip, because, you
have an option to kill almost any companion.
I did. I killed her at the beginning.
I know, when you told me that, I'm like,
yeah, what happens?
How could you?
Yeah, pretty much.
And when you don't kill her, she joins your party. His demon patron shows up and punishes him by turning him into a tiefling.
Oh.
Like he grows horns, all this other stuff.
Yeah.
But
big whoop.
But for him, it's what he hates. He hates demons.
And now he looks like
one.
Now
he's a demon.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
And so she's like, don't ever cross me again. I told you need to be killing these people. And he tried, to be like, yeah, but she wasn't really a demon. And basically she's like,
yes, everybody.
Demon powers flying.
I am one of the only D&D players that hasn't played Baldur's Gate 3.
But if you do kill her, she rewards him. She shows up still and rewards you with, epic robes and all this. Like she decks him out.
Oh,
and
nice.
She's like, keep doing what I want you to do. And he's
why would a demon want to kill tieflings?
Well, remember,
is that
Baldur's Gate 3 takes place after the fall of
Devils versus Demon War.
Oh, okay. The
Baldur's Gate 3 takes place
the Blood War.
After Avernus.
Right after Descent to Avernus.
Okay, so it's the Blood War. Okay, cool. Got it.
But this is what's happened after.
Yeah.
And Zariel is still down there.
Yeah.
There are Zariel tieflings. There are, things.
There's
the city has been Elturel's been returned.
Yeah.
But like there's
Zariel's still in power.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so this demon was like, you need to kill these demons.
Okay, I got you.
Which, I'll be honest, that like when that
so she's
game
worried
first
about
came
you.
out, it's like, how does this outcome happen? Like if we did it with our game, it's like, how would the city return, but Rathgrith stay in power? And I've like tried to rack my brain over those. I can't map it in my head quite.
Tesmagosa brings the city back.
Yeah.
Or Merrick does.
Yeah, one of these things, and so she's a little worried.
Oh wait, but Wrath has got to stay in power. Oh.
Yeah. So she's a little worried about your character because she's like, dang, if I make a deal with Rathgrith somehow and I let Xingshi out, or even if we make a deal with Xingshi's forces and let him out, what's going to happen with Surtur? And is he going to be mad at Merrick because Merrick didn't tell him that we just kind of banished him for a little while?
He didn't ask.
Right,
What's bad is like she's not the stereotypical.
But Will tried that too with his demon patron in Baldur's Gate. He's like, yeah, but you told me this. She was like, you need to listen better.
It's like, that's not what I meant. You know it. That's not what I meant. You know it. Yeah.
Like she ain't the stereotype. Like Ramah isn't the stereotypical warlock either. To where she like.
True.
I know, like later in Baldur's Gate 3, for example, I'm playing a Drow warlock of the Deep One, and then you run across Will's patron again, and you actually have a conversation with her, and then you're trying to talk Will out of his thing, and then like being a dark elf warlock, I had the option of like, yeah, but by your pact, by paragraph this, line this, and that,
he knows
you know that's the loophole, and then she just gives you like this the dirty look. She's like, well, I guess if you do this, I'll let him out of his pact.
Right, because lawful evil at that point.
Yeah,
right?
okay,
Demons
it's lawful evil. Like,
rules,
okay,
so.
you're right. So I have to.
Yeah, so she does worry a little bit about that, and I was like, don't worry about that.
Don't worry about
Also,
that.
so as a player, you
let me
worry. About that.
Yeah, let me worry about Surtur.
But as your character, your character has no idea that Surtur spoke to Merrick.
Yeah, she has. Yeah, Ramah doesn't. Yeah, Vic knows what Ramah doesn't.
Right.
Yeah,
and I was like, so you got to try to separate that a little bit. We all metagame. We've talked about it.
Yeah, we've all metagamed. Yeah.
Everybody does to a degree. Like, despite you guys knowing all about who Xingshi was and what he is, and that, I don't feel like you avoided obviously dealing with him for the longest time, but
we tried to.
Yeah, but
like
I don't feel it really.
Yeah.
At the end of the session or end of the day, whatever metaphor, it didn't affect the outcome.
Yeah, and that's where you draw the line. Yeah.
So hopefully, whatever her idea is, I hope that it's baller. I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
And I really want it to go. And sometimes as a DM, you just allow this to happen, and with players who really have this really cool idea. You want them to feel like they made an impact. And I feel like as a DM, if you're always taking what the person wants to do, but then still like adjusting it and messing with it, sometimes that can take away from like, oh, well, I really had hoped that this.
You're 100% correct.
Yeah.
In the first campaign of Critical Role, there was one time that I watched it that I kind of went, oh, and it kind of broke my heart. Anyone who's watched Critical Role from Campaign 1 knows what I'm talking about, to where Laura Bailey had to shoot an arrow through this mechanism into this hole to hit the switch to stop the mechanism.
Right.
And so she's like, okay, cool, I'm going to do this. And so she lines it up. She goes through this big, huge thing. She rolls super good. Arrow goes flying forward. And the Dragonborn sorcerer says, I mage hand it, I grab the arrow, and I shove it in the hole. And the look on her face, from like, you just stole
my moment.
Her scene.
Yeah.
And she was nice enough not to call you on it.
Yep.
But that's the look why he only lasted till session 27.
Exactly.
Before he stepped down.
That scene, if you I intentionally rewound and watched it again. I didn't take my eyes off Laura Bailey for a second. I was like, "Oh my god!"
You kind of saw it in
my
her
heart.
eyes.
My heart broke for her.
Yeah,
because she's like, "You just stole my scene."
Yeah, and you want players as a DM and as other players at the table. We want everybody to have this.
Yeah, I mean, if someone rolls, you're like, okay, I could help them, but if they roll like a natural 15 or higher, you let the dang thing play out. Yeah. You know, let them have their moment.
Not saying that the mage hand idea wouldn't have been a cool
idea. No, that was a good idea. Necessary. Exactly. At that point in time, wasn't necessary.
For a comparative example, that's like Tove isn't very combat, savvy or anything like that. Or she avoids it. It's like,
right.
Am I as a DM going out of my way during combat to set traps around the room to punish her for not? No.
Right. Every once in a while, you throw something crazy at her to give her pause.
But narratively, you trip her up sometimes, where it's like, oh, hey, okay.
So yeah,
I think... literally getting splashed with ichor, and like, oh, great, ew. Get the.
I love it. So far, I'm glad watching Vickie evolve. Yes, as a player
absolutely,
has been really cool.
God.
But that's where we ended. Was the Valkyrie appearing? Everybody kind
of stopping and not really 100% sure how to move forward.
But it sounds like next session, hopefully we play this week, might not or whatever, because I might be out of town or not. To hear that our newest player is finally sprouting and like budding and flowering.
It's awesome.
And
I'm so excited for this moment.
And
I know, right? This is awesome. This is cool.
I've thrown out enough moments for her to try and get her comfortable, and there's been a couple of like not fall flat moments, but moments that she didn't know what to do. Like her patron literally appearing before her or anything like that. And those setup moments, but trying to have that setup moment of boom, and then
this is her epiphany moment. It's gonna, and I think it's gonna be fun, regardless of what it is. I know that it's gonna be cool, and I know you as the DM will make it cool for it too. So hopefully this becomes a moment where you know, she can look back on it, like, you know, say
And if she wanted to message me, like you said, and she wanted not to tell me, but to ensure, and she wanted to make sure that it gets set up.
Yeah.
He's a DM is more than willing.
Yeah. I just hope she, like I said, she can look back on this moment 5 years from now, 10 years
with
from
that,
now,
with that,
with
that excitement and that pride,
and she can be like, "This was my moment where you know I felt like yes, I knew exactly what I was doing."
Hey, tabletop gamers! Thank you for watching this episode of the Hermit's Homebrew. We come out with new episodes every Wednesday. Remember to like, subscribe, and share with your friends as we continue to level up and grow.